Here we have a great example of the inveterate, inept, midget-sticked approach to our victimization, where instead of being a hero, a man of the West, a woman of the West, which is what we do here, instead of being a hero, you are an insufferable little fuck. Sorry for my language. I was trying to say several different words there, and I just went with the one that you heard. This is what a bitch does. This is what somebody who is pathetic does. And it's so sad that the West is full of so many of these. I guess it's their mothers choosing pussies for fathers. And so then the mother gives birth to pussies. And then it's the food that they eat, and it's the shots that they are given. And then they're so confused. They don't know. They're like the African frogs that have been drenched in atrazine, and they're like sterile, or they lose their penis and grow a vagina, or whatever it is. That's what this comes from. And he continues to find followers. This, let's just complain about the Jews. Let's just bitch about the Jews some more. Let's just gripe about the Jews. We need a scapegoat to explain why we as white men used to do and build and make and conquer and everything, have such great dignity, and now we have nothing. And so we just need an excuse now. Fuck you. Every one of you cowards, you don't represent the recapture of our destiny. You don't represent the leadership of the white race. Being anti-Jew is not being white positive. Being a soy goy is being a loser bitch. We are men of the West. We are women of the West. We live in our story. We view the world where we are centered in that story. This insufferable bitching, complaining about Jews is the biggest sign that manliness has left Western kind. It has nothing to do with defending Jews, you little. It has nothing to do with that. That's what you'll say because you are an incompetent little micro penis bitch. That's what you'll say. But it has everything to do with being a man and woman of the West, the heroes in our story. So here you have Keith Woods personifying that mindset. Where he says here, he says, I'm going to quote Jonathan. I think it's a great point. And he's got a massive audience of these losers to speak to, doesn't he? Massive audience of these losers. The same sort of Fuentesians, and he's in the Fuentesian, he's a Fuentesian, in the same sort of orbit of people who will be fine with you being their content and thought creator, even if you're sucking on another man's toes, as long as you will prosecute the case against the scapegoat group better than they can. They'll be fine with you assaulting unprovoked an obese senior citizen female with a weapon as long as you will slander Jews. That's not men of the West. That's not defense of our people. These people are the aides of our resistance. So here you have Keith Woods, and he tweets, and I've been trying to be nice to this guy ever since, we were on like speaking terms until he entered the Fuentesian orbit, and like so many others, then suddenly when you get that Fuentesian audience, probably half of which are Turing test passing bots that are operated probably out of Washington or Tel Aviv or whatever, and they keep the resistance to our victimization focused on this immoral and dickless hatred of Jewish people, where you don't accomplish anything. You never will accomplish anything. So here he says, I'm going to tweet out this. He says, I'm going to make a big point. Hundreds of thousands of people will see this, make a big point. Jonathan Greenblatt says the only team I play for is the Jewish team. And you know what I say? That sounds pretty fucking moral to me. That sounds like exactly what we need to emulate.
But look, again, I think my job as the head of the ADL is to call balls and strikes, not to play for the red team, not to play for the blue team. The only team I play for is the Jewish team.
Amen. If you're hearing that and your first thought is, damn Jews, damn dudes, you are a soy goy. You probably already know it, though, because you sit down when you piss. If your first thought is damn Jews, you are a soy goy. Your first thought should be, holy crap, that is exactly how we need to think. Holy hell, that is exactly how I think. Of course. How about holy hell? So that's how it works. Holy hell. So that's how you get your tiny population into positions of power and authority. That's how you get these moral outcomes of people in your community showing up with money or their expertise or whatever it is to defend your community members, even when they don't know any of them. Oh, that's how it works. Instead, oh, the fucking toes. You should really be reading Mine Waste of Time. So I write back, exactly, Keith Woods. And like normal, no response from Keith Woods. And the way to end our victimization, I continue, is to center our people rather than complaining about them centering theirs. So here's a challenge to everybody hearing my voice, live or in replay. Here's a challenge. I challenge you to center us. To use the Go Free dialogic, we teach you exactly how to center us. To not be a selfish individualist bitch who stands outside of the Jewish people, following them around like a shadow haunting them throughout their lives, throughout time. And you know what a shadow is made of? Nothing. You're nothing. So I challenge you to stop being nothing and become a man or woman of the West. Decades I've been pointing this out. Decades you all have had no success with shadow haunting, being anti-Jewish, a soy goy. It's done nothing. It's sent you to jail. It's ruined your relationships. It's taken your children away. It's nothing but negative. And pointing at that and saying, see, that's what you did to yourself, bitch. You saw it coming. You go stand in front of their guns. And then when they pull the trigger, you say, look, I'm shot. No shit. You absolute vegetable. No shit. So sick of these people. So Keith, whenever you want to have a conversation, bro, when are you? I know you're in a Fuentesian. I know you're a Fuentesian and you've decided that you've got a good thing going. You know, Mark and I brought you on when you were nobody, when you were nothing. You had no following. Do you remember? I do. And we promoted you. And then you decided to just disappear and do your own thing once you had all of the attention. So I remember that very clearly. You would think that you'd have some gratitude. You would think that you would have some respect. But no, you just have this. You're just going to go ahead and continue to drive the white race into perdition with the complaining about people like Jonathan Greenblatt. Jonathan Greenblatt is not bad. Here's the final point I'm going to make on this. Jonathan Greenblatt is not a POS because he loves his people. You little bitch. That is a glorious thing that Jonathan Greenblatt does. Jonathan Greenblatt is a POS because he's anti-white. Jonathan Greenblatt is a POS because he's anti-white. You are not, Keith, you are not going to be able to slander a peoplehood and the acts of people who belong to a tribe, to a group, and then emulate that behavior. And maybe that reality is why you are pushed and we are shadow banned. Maybe because the people who are anti-white in power push you, allow you to reach people and silence us, because your position will prevent the white race from ever emulating the behavior of percentages of non-white groups who serve individual well-being by way of group well-being. Maybe that's why you get the hundreds of thousands along with Lil Nicky, who beats up on old fat women. Maybe that's why, and goes out on dates with lolly socks. Maybe that's why you get the views and we get the silence. If you care about white people, then you should be pushing the stuff that we're doing that works. Total, I swear I wish I could say the things I want to say. Go to a toilet and make friends with the turds. That's what you need. If you're going to keep doing this shit, find yourself a toilet and make friends with the turd. I guess that's what you're already doing with these groups. Like Witless Witsky, who's married to a non-white, big white defender. We can run down the list of all of these white champions that are in these multiracial anti-Jew circles.